Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we take complex, sometimes really dense information, and we try to unpack it into actionable, fascinating insights. Things that can genuinely transform how you approach your life.
That's the goal, making the complex clear.
Exactly. And today we're tackling a topic that quite literally impacts the very essence of who you are. We're talking about how you think, how you remember, how quickly you adapt to, new challenges, even your emotional resilience. And this isn't just a snapshot, it's throughout your entire life.
It really is fundamental.
It is. And, for so long, many of us grew up with this deeply ingrained belief, didn't we?
Oh yeah, the old dogma.
Right. The idea that once you hit a certain age, maybe your early 20s, your brain cell production just grinds to a halt.
Stops dead. That was the thinking.
And that from that point on, it's just this slow, inevitable march toward cognitive decline. It's a pretty disheartening picture, isn't it?
It really is, like a fixed capacity, a limited mental shelf life. Very deterministic.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because that long-held belief, it's been thoroughly, scientifically, completely overturned.
Utterly. Which is fantastic news.
It really is. So our mission today is to embark on a deep dive into some groundbreaking research. Research that not only confirms our brains can keep building new cells way into adulthood, even old age.
Which is incredible in itself.
But it also reveals the surprising, powerful, and actually incredibly actionable ways you can actively support this amazing process.
Right. It's not just passive. We can influence it.
We're going to distill insights from a whole wealth of sources, all centered around this theme: brain health. Fueling neurogenesis for lifelong cognitive resilience. Prepare to have your understanding of your own brain, and honestly, your potential, completely reframed.
Yeah, get ready for a paradigm shift.
Because this isn't just about preventing decline anymore, it's about active, ongoing mental growth.
What's truly fascinating here is precisely that monumental shift in the scientific understanding. I mean, for centuries, even well into the late 20th century, the prevailing wisdom in neuroscience was absolutely better. That the adult brain was, well, largely fixed. Static.
Right. Like hardware you couldn't upgrade.
Exactly. You were born with your set of neurons, and any new learning or adaptation, that was just about strengthening the existing connections, maybe rewiring the circuit board a bit.
Making the old pathway stronger.
Precisely.
Yeah.
The idea of generating entirely new brain cells, actual new neurons in a mature brain, that was almost, well, it was almost heretical in some circles.
Really went against the grain.
Completely. But then relentless research, particularly I'd say over the last couple of decades, it began to paint a very different picture, a much more optimistic one.
Okay.
We now know definitively, without a doubt, that the adult brain isn't static. It possesses this incredible innate capacity for renewal, a process we now call neurogenesis.
Neurogenesis, that's the key term.
That's the one. And this revelation, it fundamentally changes the conversation around aging, learning, mental health, you name it.
How so?
Well, it means we're not just playing defense against decline, We're actually capable of actively enhancing our cognitive capabilities. We can improve memory, sharpen focus, even build greater emotional resilience, really regardless of our age.
Wow. So age isn't the barrier we thought it was.
Not in the way we used to think. It's an empowering concept, really. It speaks to the plasticity, the adaptability, and the just enduring potential of the human mind.
It truly is revolutionary. That old belief, this idea that brain cell production was strictly a childhood thing, maybe adolescence, it fosters such a sense of, inevitable cognitive fate.
Yeah, like your mental trajectory was set early on.
Exactly. It felt like your mental capacity was largely fixed and you were just sort of managing whatever you had left. It almost created this fatalistic, use it or lose it, but mostly you're just going to lose its kind of mindset.
A bit bleak, wasn't it?
Very bleak. But then came the aha moment. The one scientists delivered first in animal models, right? And then definitively in human brains, it was seismic.
It really shook the foundation.
They didn't just theorize, they actually demonstrated it. Using cutting-edge imaging, post-mortem analyses, they showed the adult brain can and does keep forming new neurons. This process, as you said, neurogenesis.
That's it, the reveal.
And the significance of this discovery for you, our listener, it really can't be overstated. It means your brain is not too old to grow.
Never too late.
You are not stuck with the brain you have today. You possess the biological potential to build a better, more robust, more resilient one. It just changes everything about how we approach lifelong learning and cognitive health.
Precisely. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this remarkable capacity for neurogenesis, It isn't just some biological curiosity for researchers to study in a lab.
Right, it's practical.
It's a critical dynamic pathway to achieving lifelong cognitive resilience. So to define neurogenesis a bit more precisely, it's the actual birth of brand new neurons from what are called neural stem cells.
Stem cells in the brain.
Exactly. And these aren't just scattered randomly. These stem cells are primarily found in specific, really vital regions of the brain. The most studied, most well-known is the dentate gyrus. It's part of the hippocampus.
Okay, the hippocampus. I know that's heavily involved in memory.
You got it. It's a major hub for learning and the formation of new memories. So when we talk about neurogenesis happening there, we're talking about direct support for some of our most fundamental cognitive functions. Learning, remembering,
The core stuff.
the absolute core stuff. Now, for this cellular factory, let's call it, to thrive, to actually produce these new neurons and integrate them effectively into the existing brain networks, well, the brain needs very specific conditions.
Okay, it's not automatic then.
Not at all. Think of it maybe like a highly specialized, incredibly sensitive garden.
I like that analogy, a brain garden.
Yeah. And this garden, it needs constant, steady energy. The brain, surprisingly, it consumes about 20% of your body's total energy.
20% for just 2% of body weight.
Exactly. It's an incredibly high-energy organ. It demands a consistent supply of clean fuel, primarily glucose, just to power its billions of operations every second.
So consistent fuel is key.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's not just about energy quantity. It also needs specific nutrients. These are the essential building blocks, the catalysts for all these complex cellular processes. Think of them as the right soil, the specific micronutrients that let cellular growth really flourish.
The fertilizer for the brain garden.
You could say that, yeah. And critically, our brain garden needs a low-stress internal environment.
Stress again.
Always stress. Just like invasive weeds can choke out tender seedlings in a physical garden, chronic stress, systemic inflammation, harmful toxins, they can severely impede this delicate process of neurogenesis. They can prevent new cells from even forming, or stop them from maturing properly, or prevent them from surviving long enough to actually integrate and become functional parts of the network. It's a really delicate ecosystem.
But one we can influence.
Absolutely. We have immense power to influence it.
That garden analogy really clicks because it makes it so clear that we're not just passive observers here. We are very much the gardeners of our own brains.
That's a great way to put it, active participants.
And just as there are these ideal conditions that help the brain garden flourish, there are also, unfortunately, powerful saboteurs that can actively hinder, slow, or maybe even halt neurogenesis altogether.
Definitely. Roadblocks on the path to resilience.
You mentioned chronic stress and its impact. It just feels so pervasive, doesn't it? Almost insidious.
It truly is. When your body is constantly stuck in that high alert state, perpetually flooded with stress hormones like cortisol, it's not just making you feel anxious or tired. That's the surface level.
What's happening underneath?
Well, on a biological level, those elevated cortisol levels can actively suppress the proliferation, the multiplication of those neural stem cells we talked about.
Yeah.
It literally prevents new neurons from even being born.
Wow. Stops it at the source.
Stops it at the source.
Uh-huh.
Plus, it can damage existing neurons, and perhaps most alarmingly, it can actually cause structural shrinkage in critical brain regions, like the hippocampus.
The memory center shrinks, literally.
Literally shrinks. This isn't just a metaphor. Studies using MRI scans have shown measurable reductions in hippocampal volume in people experiencing prolonged, unmanaged stress. It's physical damage.
Sobering. And what about diet? You mentioned nutrients, but the flip side is poor diet.
Right. Poor diet isn't just about, weight management or general health, although those are important. It's fundamentally about depriving your brain of those essential building blocks and protectors.
Okay.
A diet heavy in processed foods, refined sugars, unhealthy fats, it actively promotes systemic inflammation throughout your entire body.
And that inflammation gets into the brain.
It doesn't politely stock at the neck, no. It spills directly into the brain, leading to what we call neuroinflammation.
Brain inflammation. That sounds bad.
It is.
Yeah.
Chronic brain inflammation, often fueled by that poor diet, creates a hostile environment. It's incredibly damaging to existing neurons, disrupting their communication, their signaling, and it severely impedes neurogenesis. It's like pouring acid on your brain garden.
It's a harsh image, but it gets the point across.
Yeah. And when you combine these factors, the chronic stress, the inflammatory diet, the resulting inflammation itself, they can really send your brain down a path of early cognitive aging.
Making you feel older than you are. Mentally.
Exactly. Mentally older, slower, more fatigued than your actual chronological years should dictate. And long before you ought to feel that way, it's a direct assault on your brain's youthful vitality.
And this is the crucial part. Here's where it gets really interesting.
The turning point.
Yes, because the truly empowering news, the really exciting part, is that we are absolutely not helpless against these saboteurs. Not at all.
We have agency.
We have incredible agency to counteract their negative effects, to actively defend and even build up our brain's resilience. And a huge part of that power starts with what we choose to put into our bodies.
Indeed. And this raises an important question for all of us, doesn't it? What exactly are these powerful compounds? The ones that can act as the brain's essential building blocks, its protectors.
Right. What are the specific tools?
Well, over the past few decades, a really solid, growing body of research has meticulously uncovered specific nutrients. These nutrients have been found to directly support neurogenesis,
The birth of new cells.
exactly, and also protect the existing neurons from that oxidative damage and inflammation we talked about. And ultimately, they optimize overall mental clarity and function.
So they do multiple things, protect and build.
Precisely. Think of them as the premium bioavailable fertilizers, the protective netting, and maybe the optimal watering system for that precious brain garden we're trying to cultivate.
Okay, let's break them down. What are the big hitters?
Let's do it. Let's delve into some of the most impactful ones, looking not just at what they do, but how they actually exert these profound effects inside the brain.
All right. First up, one we probably all associate with strong bones, maybe sunshine, vitamin D. We often think of it just as a vitamin, but it seems like it's much more than that for our brains, isn't it?
You're absolutely right. While vitamin D is globally recognized for its critical role in bone health, calcium regulation, its function within the brain is truly remarkable and, frankly, often underestimated.
How so?
It doesn't just act like a vitamin in the traditional sense, aiding metabolic processes. Instead, vitamin D behaves much more like a potent neural steroid hormone inside the brain.
A hormone, like testosterone or estrogen.
In function, yes. What this means is it has really wide-reaching effects because our neurons and also the glial cells, the brain support cells, they are literally studded with vitamin D receptors.
So the brain cells are waiting for it.
They're equipped to respond to it. When vitamin D binds to these receptors, it can directly influence gene expression. It can effectively turn on or turn off various genetic pathways that are crucial for neuron survival and function.
Okay, so it's regulating things at a genetic level. What kind of things?
Specifically, it helps regulate neurotransmission. That's the complex, intricate dance of how your brain cells communicate, sending signals back and forth across those tiny gaps, the synapses.
Cell communication.
Right. Vitamin D plays a role in making and releasing certain neurotransmitters, and also in the plasticity of the synapses themselves, their ability to strengthen or weaken connections based on experience.
Learning and memory, basically.
Fundamentally tied to it.
Right.
Beyond communication, it also directly supports nerve growth and differentiation. That's critical for brain development, yes, but also for repair and ongoing maintenance throughout life.
And that connects to neurogenesis.
Strongly. It helps create the optimal environment for those new neurons to sprout, mature, and survive. And perhaps most importantly for this discussion on resilience, it acts as a powerful anti-inflammatory and antioxidant signal within the brain.
Calming things down.
Exactly. Helping to calm down that internal environment that needs to be low stress and free of oxidative damage for neurogenesis to really happen effectively.
Is there research backing this up specifically for cognitive decline?
Oh, dramatically. There are numerous studies, but some compelling longitudinal ones tracking thousands of people over many years have shown really striking results. For instance, individuals with clinically deficient vitamin D levels and deficiency is incredibly common.
How common?
Some estimates suggest maybe 50% or even more of the global population, depending on geography, lifestyle, skin pigmentation.
Wow, half the population potentially.
It's huge. And studies show these deficient individuals had a significantly increased risk, sometimes cited as up to a twofold increased risk of developing Alzheimer's disease and other forms of dementia later in life.
Double the risk. That's significant.
It's a massive difference. So this isn't just a loose correlation. It suggests a direct mechanistic link between this hormone-like vitamin and the pathways critical for long-term cognitive health. Ensuring adequate levels isn't just about bones, it's fundamental for brain health.
That's a profound connection. Really shifts the perspective on vitamin D. Okay, next up. Something we hear about constantly in health discussions, omega-3 fatty acids. But why are they so crucial specifically for the brain? It often feels like general advice, But what's the deep connection?
There absolutely is a deep connection, and it delves into the very architecture, the physical structure of your brain. When we talk omega-3s for brain health, we're primarily focusing on one specific type, DHA, docosahexaenoic acid.
BHA, got it.
DHA isn't just another fat, it is a fundamental structural fat, meaning it's literally a major, indispensable component of your brain tissue itself.
It's part of the building.
It's part of the bricks and mortar, yes. In fact, DHA makes up roughly 25–30% of the dry weight of your brain's cerebral cortex.
Hmm.
And it's particularly concentrated in the cell membranes of your neurons.
The outer layer of the brain cells.
Exactly. Think of these neural membranes as the sort of flexible boundaries of your brain cells. They're not just passive barriers. They're highly active, dynamic interfaces where all the communication happens, all the signaling.
Okay.
DHA's presence in these membranes gives them a unique fluidity and flexibility. And this fluidity is absolutely crucial because it allows proteins embedded within that membrane, things like neurotransmitter receptors, ion channels, to move around and function optimally.
So it keeps things working smoothly.
Precisely. When you have robust, well-maintained neural membranes, rich in DHA, it dramatically improves synaptic communication. That's the speed, the precision, the efficiency with which signals travel between your neurons.
Like better wiring.
That's a great analogy. Imagine a busy city square. DHA ensures the pathways are clear, the signals move smoothly, and the messages get where they need to go without delays or interference. Better insulation, better wiring.
And how does that translate to how we feel and think?
It translates directly into improved cognitive function. DHA is especially essential for maintaining core functions like working memory, your ability to hold and manipulate information short term.
Like remembering a phone number while you dial it.
Exactly. Also attention and the speed of processing information. Clinical studies consistently show that higher DHA intake or blood levels correlate with better cognitive performance, especially on tasks requiring complex problem-solving and rapid thinking.
So measurable improvements.
Measurable improvements, for instance, meta-analyses pooling data from multiple randomized controlled trials have found that DHA supplementation significantly improved memory function in healthy older adults, helping to buffer against that natural age-related decline.
So it's not just general health, it's specific brain performance.
Absolutely. It's like providing the high-quality infrastructure for your brain's superhighway, ensuring your whole mental system operates at peak efficiency. Without enough of it, the system can become less efficient, maybe a bit sluggish.
That wiring analogy really works. Okay, moving on. Vitamin B12. We often link this one with energy, right? Taking it to combat fatigue. But you're saying it's deeply tied to brain structure, too.
Hitting on a truly crucial point there.
Yeah.
Yes, B12 is vital for energy production at the cellular level, helping convert food into usable energy. But its role in brain structure and function is profound, and honestly, often gets overlooked in the general conversation.
So beyond just energy levels.
Way beyond. Its impact on our nervous system is multifaceted. One of its most critical roles is in the production and maintenance of myelin.
Myelin. That's the insulation around nerve fibers.
Exactly. It's this fatty protective sheath that wraps around the axons, the long projections of your neurons, just like rubber insulation around an electrical wire.
And what does it do?
Its purpose is to ensure rapid, efficient signal transmission throughout your brain and your entire nervous system. Think about it. Without sufficient intact myelin, electrical signals can leak or slow down dramatically.
Like a frayed wire.
Or a poorly insulated garden hose losing water pressure. This can lead to sluggish thought processes, impaired coordination, that general feeling of brain fog. B12 is an absolutely indispensable cofactor in the enzymatic reactions needed to synthesize myelin.
So no B12, poor myelin.
It compromises myelin production and maintenance, yes. Beyond myelin, B12 also plays a vital role in synthesizing neurotransmitters, chemicals like serotonin and dopamine, crucial for mood, motivation, focus.
The feel-good chemicals, partly.
Partly, yes, but also critical for cognitive processing. It also supports overall cellular metabolism, the energy systems needed for robust brain signaling. And here's where deficiency becomes really concerning.
What happens if you're low?
Low levels of B12 are directly linked to a whole range of noticeable cognitive impairments. It can manifest as that persistent brain fog, chronic fatigue that sleep doesn't seem to fix, memory difficulties.
Things people might just put down to aging or stress.
Exactly. And in more severe or prolonged deficiencies, it can even lead to measurable brain shrinkage, actual atrophy, particularly in elderly adults.
Brain shrinkage from a vitamin deficiency.
Yes. What's fascinating here is how a seemingly small deficiency in a single common vitamin can have such significant cascading implications for the structural integrity and overall performance of your entire brain.
That's
It
incredible.
really underscores just how interconnected our nutritional intake is with our core cognitive abilities, and why something like a B12 deficiency can sometimes be mistaken for early signs of cognitive decline if it's not properly diagnosed and addressed.
Wow. Okay. Finally, let's talk antioxidants. We often hear they fight rust in the body. Nice analogy, but what does that really mean for our neurons, these super delicate brain cells? And how does it connect to growth?
That rust analogy is actually quite apt, especially when we think about the brain.
Yeah.
In biological terms, that rust refers to oxidative stress.
Okay, oxidative stress. What is that exactly?
It's a form of cellular damage caused by unstable molecules called free radicals. Now, these free radicals are naturally produced during normal metabolism, but their levels can be dramatically increased by things like inflammation, environmental toxins, poor diet, chronic stress.
The usual suspects.
The usual suspects, exactly. If these free radicals are left unchecked, they can wreak havoc on cellular structures. They damage the lipids in cell membranes, the proteins that do all the work, even the DNA inside the neurons. This damage accumulates over time, accelerating cellular aging and impairing how neurons function.
So antioxidants step in how?
Antioxidants, like curcumin, the potent compound in turmeric or resveratrol, found in red grapes, berries, Japanese knotweed work, by neutralizing these free radicals. They basically donate an electron to the unstable free radical, making it stable and preventing it from causing further damage.
So they stop the rusting.
They reduce the oxidative stress load. Yes, they protect the neurons from this constant assault. But, and this is key, their role often extends far beyond just passive protection.
Oh. What else do they do?
Let's take curcumin again as a specific example. Really groundbreaking research has shown that curcumin can significantly increase levels of something called BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor.
BDNF. You mentioned that briefly before. What is it exactly?
Okay, let's unpack BDNF because it's absolutely critical. Think of
Yes.
BDNF as a fertilizer for your brain cells, like Miracle-Gro, but for neurons.
Brain fertilizer. I like that.
It's a protein that promotes neurogenesis, encouraging the birth of new neurons. It also supports synaptic plasticity, the brain's amazing ability to adapt, form new connections, strengthen existing ones in response to learning and experience. BDNF is fundamental to learning, memory, and just maintaining overall brain health and resilience.
So curcumin boosts this brain fertilizer.
Studies show it can, yes. So compounds like curcumin aren't just passively shielding your neurons from harm, they're actively encouraging their growth, enhancing their resilience, boosting their adaptability. They're literally helping to create an internal environment where existing brain cells function optimally, and importantly, where new brain cells can not only survive, but thrive and integrate into the network.
So it's protection and promotion?
Exactly. This dual action shielding and encouraging growth makes antioxidants like curcumin incredibly powerful allies in our quest for lifelong cognitive resilience.
Okay, so we've covered these amazing nutrients, vitamin D, DHA, B12, antioxidants like curcumin providing crucial support. But let's shift gears a bit and talk about time, the aging brain. We kind of know things naturally begin to, well, shift after a certain age. Why do these neuroprotective nutrients become even more vital as we get older? Is it just about compensating, or is there more to it?
It's a really important question because understanding the natural changes that happen provides crucial context. The reality is, yes, after about age 30, certain natural biological processes in the brain do begin to shift. They don't fall off a cliff, but they change, making the brain generally more vulnerable to the stressors and challenges of daily life.
What kinds of changes are we talking about?
There are two key changes that become particularly relevant here in the context of neurogenesis and resilience. First, our natural internal production of BDNF, that critical brain fertilizer, it generally begins to slow down.
The Miracle-Gro supply decreases?
Sort of, yes. Think of it as the brain's internal growth hormone diminishing somewhat. This reduction makes it a bit harder for existing neurons to maintain themselves, harder for new neurons to be born, and harder for the brain to adapt and form those new connections needed for learning and memory.
Okay, so less natural support for growth. What's the second change?
The second involves our telomeres. Telomeres are the protective caps at the very ends of our chromosomes. They shield our DNA from damage during cell division.
Like the plastic tips on shoelaces.
That's a perfect analogy, exactly like that. Every time a cell divides, those telomeres get just a little bit shorter. Over time, when they become critically short, it signals the cell to stop dividing or even to die. This contributes to cellular aging senescence throughout the body, including in the brain.
And shorter telomeres are bad for brain cells.
Well, this shortening process makes brain cells more vulnerable, more susceptible to DNA damage, to oxidative stress, to inflammation.
Yeah.
They have less protective capping.
Got it. So reduced BDNF and shorter telomeres. What's the overall consequence?
Both of these age-related changes, the reduced BDNF and the telomere shortening, they collectively make the brain more susceptible to those very saboteurs we discussed earlier.
Hmm.
Chronic inflammation, environmental toxins, stress-related damage.
It's like the defenses are slightly lowered.
Exactly. Think of your brain like maybe an older, high-performance car. It's still perfectly capable of running, maybe running really well, but it generally needs more precise fuel, more specialized preventative maintenance, maybe more careful handling to keep running smoothly compared to when it was brand new off the lot.
Makes sense. More upkeep required.
Our brains, while remarkably adaptable, also benefit dramatically from this kind of increased preventative and supportive care as we age. And those nutrients we discussed, they act as crucial interventions that directly counteract some of these age-related vulnerabilities.
So if our brain is like that older car needing more specialized care, how exactly do these nutrients act as an internal upgrade system? Not just keeping it running, but maybe even improving performance against that natural slowdown.
Right. If we connect this to the bigger picture, these specific nutrients become absolutely crucial in mitigating those age-related vulnerabilities we just laid out. They don't just passively slow decline. They actively support the brain's regeneration and resilience in really profound ways.
How specifically?
Okay, specifically, these neuroprotective nutrients help by, first, shielding neurons from that free radical damage, the cellular rust, which tends to accelerate with age due to accumulated exposures and maybe less efficient repair systems. They act as scavengers, neutralizing harmful molecules.
Nothing up the damage.
Yes. Second, they work tirelessly to reduce chronic inflammation throughout the brain. Remember, inflammation is that silent but potent enemy of cognitive function and longevity. Nutrients like vitamin D and curcumin have powerful anti-inflammatory effects, calming that internal storm.
Creating a better environment.
A much more hospitable environment for neurons. Third, and critically, they can directly stimulate the birth of new brain cells, particularly by supporting those BDNF levels and other growth factors. This directly counteracts that natural slowdown in neurogenesis that tends to happen after 30.
So actively promoting new growth.
Actively promoting it, providing the impetus and the raw materials. And the cumulative effect of all these actions, the protection, the reduced inflammation, the stimulated growth, is often a tangible improvement in overall memory, sharper focus, enhanced mental clarity.
So it's not just holding the line, it's potentially improving things.
Exactly. It's not just preserving what you have. It's about actively building new capacity, enhancing function.
Yeah.
But, and this is vital,
Yes.
it's vital to emphasize that while these supplements are incredibly powerful tools, they work synergistically. This isn't a magic bullet, right? It's not a standalone solution that replaces everything else.
It's part of a bigger picture.
Absolutely. When these supplements are consumed regularly in conjunction with proper, consistent sleep, thoughtful, intentional movement, and a balanced, whole food, nutritious diet, then they truly can act like an internal upgrade system for your brain.
The whole package working together.
It's a holistic approach. Each component amplifies the benefits of the others, creating this powerful compounding effect that helps your brain not just endure the aging process, but genuinely flourish for decades to come.
That makes so much sense. It's about creating the right internal environment, that bespoke ecosystem for your brain, for these nutrients to really do their best work. Okay, so we've talked cellular level nutrients, aging, but what does this all mean for our daily habits? For the person listening right now, it sounds like we have far more direct control over our brain's environment and maybe our cognitive destiny than we might have thought.
That's the core message. You have significant control.
So beyond the pill, beyond the supplements, what are the daily actionable strategies? The things we can do to truly support neurogenesis and cultivate that deep brain resilience?
Absolutely. Supplements, as we've established, are powerful tools, powerful supports, but they truly work best, they achieve their full potential when they're integrated into a comprehensive, brain-friendly lifestyle. It's about building that robust, resilient foundation from the ground up.
Okay, pillar number one.
Pillar number one has to be fuel your brain smartly. Your brain, remember, is that energy hog. 2% of body weight, 20% of metabolic energy. But it doesn't just need any energy. It needs a steady, consistent supply.
Like avoiding the sugar roller coaster.
Exactly. Avoiding blood sugar crashes is paramount. When your blood sugar spikes wildly after, say, a high-sugar refined carb meal and then plummets just as quickly, that creates a chaotic, stressful environment for your brain.
I know that feeling. Brain fog central.
That's it. Impaired cognition, irritability, significant energy dips. The strategy here is simple but profoundly effective. Prioritize complex carbohydrates, high-quality proteins, and healthy fats throughout your day, consumed regularly.
What kinds of foods are we talking?
Complex carbs like whole grains, legumes, vegetables. They provide a slow, sustained release of glucose, the brain's preferred fuel. Healthy fats, avocados, nuts, seeds, olive oil, they contribute to brain cell structure and provide sustained energy. Protein helps stabilize blood sugar and gives you amino acids for neurotransmitter production.
And eating regularly matters.
Yes. On the flip side, skipping meals or doing extreme prolonged fasting without proper adaptation can actually impair cognitive performance because your brain is struggling for that consistent energy. It leads to nutrient depletion, not optimal function.
So, steady fuel supply.
Think of it as needing a gentle, continuous trickle of high-octane fuel, not these erratic surges in deep valleys. Consistent fueling also helps maintain insulin sensitivity in the brain, which is crucial for overall neural health.
Okay, fuel smart. Makes sense. What's pillar number 2? Probably involves the big saboteur, stress.
You guessed it. Stress is, without doubt, one of the most insidious enemies of long-term brain health, especially that chronic grinding stress. The constant elevation of cortisol, remember, doesn't just make you feel frazzled.
It shrinks the hippocampus.
It can literally shrink the hippocampus, damage its neurons. Neuroimaging studies show this. Cortisol also impairs neurogenesis and connectivity in your prefrontal cortex, the part needed for planning, decision-making, emotional control.
So managing stress is crucial.
Managing stress proactively is non-negotiable. Not about eliminating stress that's impossible, but building resilience to it. Actionable tips. There are many, but here are a few powerful ones.
Okay.
Breath work. Simple, intentional breathing techniques directly calm your nervous system. Things like box breathing, inhale 4, hold 4, exhale 4, hold 4, or just deep diaphragmatic breathing activate your parasympathetic rest and digest system. Lowers heart rate, blood pressure, and crucially, cortisol. Even 5 minutes a day helps.
Simple but effective.
Very. Second, cold exposure. Sounds uncomfortable maybe, but brief controlled exposure, like a 30, 60-second cold blast at the end of your shower, or cold plunges if you're adventurous, builds incredible stress resilience.
How does that work?
It's a hormetic stressor. It triggers a release of norepinephrine, dopamine neurotransmitters that boost focus, mood, alertness, while training your body to handle subsequent stresses more calmly. It's like a boot camp for your nervous system.
Interesting. Train yourself with cold. What else?
Third, walking outdoors. So simple, yet so powerful. A brisk 20-minute walk, especially in nature, combines physical activity, natural light exposure, and the proven stress-reducing effects of being in a green environment. It calms the nervous system, reduces rumination, boosts mood and cognition.
These aren't just feel-good things then.
Not at all. They directly offset the potential brain damage from chronic stress. They're preserving your cognitive architecture.
It's amazing how simple things can be so biologically profound. Okay, next pillar. Movement, I assume.
You got it. Move your body,
Okay.
especially with intensity sometimes. This is one of the most direct and potent ways to stimulate neurogenesis and boost overall brain health.
How does exercise directly grow brain cells?
It triggers a cascade of beneficial physiological responses. For instance, high-intensity interval training, HIIT, and resistance training are proven to significantly increase those BDNF levels.
The brain fertilizer again.
Exactly. When you challenge your muscles, they release growth factors and signaling molecules that travel to the brain, directly stimulating BDNF production. More fertilizer means more potential for new neuron growth and survival, especially in the hippocampus. Exercise also boosts other growth factors and promotes synaptic plasticity.
Does it have to be intense exercise?
Intensity helps boost BDNF significantly, but accessibility is key. Even consistent, moderate aerobic exercise, like that brisk 20-minute walk daily, significantly improves cerebral blood flow.
More blood to the brain. Why is that so important?
More blood flow means more oxygen and more vital nutrients like those omega-3s and B vitamins are getting delivered efficiently to your brain cells. This enhanced perfusion creates an optimal environment for existing neurons to function, repair themselves, and for new cells to generate and integrate.
So it fuels and nourishes.
Plus, regular movement reduces systemic inflammation, improves insulin sensitivity, crucial for brain energy, and positively impacts mood, which indirectly helps by reducing stress and depression. It's delivering fuel, nourishment, and growth signals, A powerful combination.
Fuel, stress management, movement. What's the final foundational pillar? Has to be sleep, right? The unsung hero.
The absolutely essential, arguably most foundational pillar. Sleep, like your brain, depends on it, because it does. Sleep isn't just downtime. It's a highly active, critical period for brain maintenance, detoxification, and consolidation.
What's happening while we sleep? It feels like nothing.
Far from nothing. During deep sleep, that non-REM stage 3 and REM sleep, your brain is incredibly busy. First, memory consolidation. This is where your brain takes information, experiences, skills from the day, and files them away, turning short-term memories into long-term knowledge. It strengthens important connections, prunes weaker ones, optimizing the network.
So learning actually happens during sleep.
A huge part of consolidating learning does, yes. Without enough deep sleep, your ability to learn and retain is seriously compromised. Second, detoxification. This is amazing. There's a system called the glymphatic system, highly active during deep sleep. It acts like your brain's unique plumbing or waste removal system.
Washing the brain.
Literally. It flushes out metabolic waste products that build up while you're awake. Crucially, it clears out toxins like amyloid beta, the protein implicated in Alzheimer's. Think of it as the brain's nightly janitorial crew doing a deep clean.
Wow. That's critical.
Absolutely. And third, neuron repair and regeneration. Sleep is when your brain repairs neurons, replenishes neurotransmitter stores, and facilitates cellular maintenance. This quiet period lets the brain divert energy from conscious thought towards essential repair, making it prime time for neurogenesis too.
So sleep is when the building and cleaning happens.
Building, cleaning, repairing, consolidating. It's indispensable. So the actionable tip is, protect your wind-down routine like it's your most important workout. Prioritize quality sleep. Chronic sleep deprivation, even just an hour or two less per night consistently, isn't just about feeling tired. It significantly impairs cognition, increases inflammation, reduces neurogenesis. It sets the stage for long-term problems.
That brain maintenance crew analogy is powerful.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have the holistic strategies. Fuel, stress, movement, sleep. Absolutely foundational. But for those looking to further optimize, to really lean into that upgrading mindset, let's circle back to supplements. What are the actionable insights and how can we approach this personally, safely, effectively?
Right. This is where we integrate those specific compounds as powerful supports for the lifestyle changes. And again, it's vital to emphasize, work closely with your healthcare provider to personalize your intake.
Crucial disclaimer.
Absolutely crucial. For safety, efficacy, checking interactions, individual needs vary wildly. But based on the robust research, some specific evidence-backed supplements can be excellent starting points to discuss with that provider.
Okay, like what? Based on our earlier discussion?
For vitamin D3, the active form, a common suggested range to aim for optimal blood levels, especially if deficient, is often 1,000–2,000 IU daily. But some need more. Blood tests are really the best way to guide this, aiming for that healthy range, maybe 30–60 ng/ml. Remember its hormone-like action?
Get tested. Good advice. What about DHA?
For DHA, aiming for at least 250 milligrams per day of DHA itself is a good benchmark for supporting those neural membranes and communication. High-quality fish oil is common, but check the DHA content specifically. Algal oil is great for plant-based folks. Look for third-party testing for purity.
Okay, 250 milligram DHA minimum.
Yeah.
B12.
Vitamin B12, especially the methylcobalamin form, is highly bioavailable. Supplementation is really important if you suspect deficiency fatigue, fog, tingling, or if you're in a risk group. Older adults, vegetarians, vegans, certain medications. A typical dose might be 505 milligrams daily, but again, testing confirms need. Essential for myelin and preventing atrophy.
And curcumin.
Curcumin, incredibly potent but tricky to absorb. Look for formulations that specifically include black pepper extract, piperine, or use liposomal or nanoparticle technology to drastically enhance bioavailability. Otherwise, you might not get those BDNF-boosting anti-inflammatory benefits. A common enhanced dose might be 501,000 milligrams of curcuminoids.
Good tip on the absorption for curcumin. And as we always say here on the deep dive, and it really bears repeating, this deep dive is for informational purposes only. It's based on current research, but it absolutely does not substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment from a qualified health provider. Always consult them before starting new supplements or making big health changes. Your situation is unique.
Absolutely spot on. Couldn't agree more. And really, with all of this in mind, the core message we hope you take away is truly transformative. Neurogenesis isn't just some abstract scientific concept. It's a profound, lifelong strategy that's available to each and every one of us.
It's something we can actively engage in.
Exactly. It's not simply about experiencing sharper thinking today. though that's a fantastic, immediate benefit many people notice. More importantly, it's about building and sustaining genuine, long-term brain resilience, actively buffering against the natural processes of aging and those environmental stressors we face.
So future-proofing our brains.
In a way, yes. By actively supporting the growth and survival of new brain cells, you're doing more than just preserving your current abilities. You're strengthening your memory over time, making it more robust. You're buffering stress more effectively, preventing cortisol from eroding those key brain structures.
And reducing long-term risk.
And significantly, by cultivating this brain environment that's conducive to growth and repair, you are actively reducing your future risk of age-related cognitive decline, potentially delaying or even mitigating the onset of devastating conditions like Alzheimer's.
That's huge.
It is. What's truly fascinating here is that these small, consistent actions, optimizing nutrition with targeted nutrients, managing stress proactively, moving consistently, prioritizing sleep, may be combined with judicious, personalized supplementation. They aren't just preserving your mind, they are actively upgrading it, cell by cell, connection by connection, every single day.
Upgrading, not just maintaining.
It's a powerful testament to the brain's inherent plasticity and our profound ability to influence its health and its longevity.
That idea, actively upgrading your mind, not just trying to hold on, not just slowing decline. That is truly transformative. It hands you back so much agency over your brain health, so much more than we ever thought possible. It turns that old fatalistic view of aging into an empowering journey of continuous growth potential.
Well said. It's a hopeful message backed by science.
It really is. So, as you go about your day, maybe consider this provocative thought for your own life. What does it truly mean to you to be actively investing in and genuinely upgrading your mind? How will the person you are today, by making these consistent, conscious, empowering choices for your brain health, how will that positively impact the person you become in 10 years? 20 years, even 30 years from now? It's not just another health choice. It feels like a profound legacy you can build for yourself, shaping the very quality, the richness of your future life.
A legacy worth investing in.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the incredible, almost miraculous potential housed within your own brain. Keep asking questions, keep exploring, and keep investing in your most valuable asset, your mind. Until next time, keep diving deep.